and you are listening to the summary of Atomic Habits by James Clear. This book has changed many a life, including mine. So I'm very excited to narrate this book for you, which is one of my absolute favorites. Atomic means an extremely small unit of a bigger system. It is also a source of incredible power. Thus, atomic habits refer to a tiny change or a 1% improvement that, when grouped together, will bring amazing results. Habits are like the building blocks of our lives. Just like atoms are the building blocks of matter. Each habit contributes to your overall improvement. In this book, you will learn more about the power of atomic habits. You will learn the 4 steps of habit forming and the 4 laws of behavioral change. A habit is formed through a cue, craving, response, and reward. You have to make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. You will also learn strategies to apply these principles, such as habit stacking and habit tracking. This book is an international bestseller for a reason. It is unlike any other habit-related books you have read. Let's start. The surprising power of atomic habits. The British used to be incredibly bad at professional cycling. Since 1908, only one British rider has won a gold medal at the Olympic Games. Even worse, no British rider has ever won in the world's biggest cycling race, Tour de France. It all changed in 2003 when the British cycling authorities hired Dave Brailsford as the new performance director. Dave believed in the strategy he called aggregation of marginal gains, which refers to the great impact of tiny improvements in every detail. Dave and the coaches broke down all the specific aspects of cycling and improved them by 1%. They looked forward to the big progress these many small changes would bring. For example, they made the bike seats more comfortable. They also put alcohol on the tires to have a tighter grip. The athletes were given digital sensors to monitor their fitness training. They were also provided with the best pillow and mattresses to give them the most refreshing sleep. The hundreds of tiny improvements piled up and brought great results to the performance of British cyclists. After 5 years of Dave's strategy, the British cycling team excelled in the 2008 Olympic Games, where they won 60% of the gold medals. 4 years later, the British cyclists achieved 7 world records and 9 Olympic records. Bradley Wiggins also won the Tour de France that same year. Chris Froome won the next year, and again in 2015, 2016, and 2017. From this example, you can see how small improvements can make a big difference in your life. We often think that we need big changes in our routine to achieve success. We think we need to do something extreme to lose weight, win a competition, or save money. Even if a 1% improvement is not noticeable, it brings great results in the long run. Let us see the math. Think of one specific aspect about you that you want to change. Improve 1% every day on it for 1 year, and you will be 37 times better than you started. Oppositely, if you get 1% worse every day for a year, your performance level will be down to 0. It is quite similar to the concept of compound interest in investing. The effects of a habit multiply as you do it repeatedly. You will see no difference if you do it for 1 day, but repeat it for months and years, and you will definitely see the impact. A habit is a double-edged sword. A bad habit can destroy you just as easily as a good habit can lift you. That is why you need to understand how habits work and apply an effective strategy in your life. Imagine that you are inside a cold room. All that's inside is a table with an ice cube in the middle of it. The room is currently at 25 degrees. Slowly, the temperature will rise. It will move to 26 degrees, 27 degrees, and 28 degrees. Still, the ice cube is the same. The temperature will increase to 29, 30, and 31 degrees. Nothing happens. But when the room hits 32 degrees, the ice cube will start to melt. That 1 degree increase will reveal a big change. Similarly, a habit appears to have no effects until you reach a critical point where you achieve a new level of performance. The early and middle stages of a habit are called the valley of disappointment. For example, if you want to lose weight and keep exercising for days, weeks, and months, still you see no significant change in your body. You feel frustrated because it seems like your routine is getting nowhere. That is when most people decide to quit. But to succeed, you must persist through this steady line called the plateau of latent potential. Just keep exercising and eating healthy food, even if you don't see results. Let the months and years pass by. Your effort is not wasted. Your small improvements daily are being stored. Eventually, you will rise above the plateau of latent potential and people will notice. They will call your transformation an overnight success. To be a master at anything, you need to be patient. Great things start from small beginnings. At the core of every habit is one tiny decision. As the decision is repeated daily, the habit grows and becomes stronger. Breaking a bad habit is like uprooting an oak tree within you. Building a good habit is like making a delicate flower bloom in your garden. How to build better habits in 4 simple steps. A habit refers to a behavior repeated enough times that it becomes automatic. The process begins with trial and error. When you experience a new problem, you're not sure what to do. You're trying to figure out what behavior will work. During your initial attempts, your brain's activity is high. You're learning everything you can, thinking consciously, and deciding how to respond. Eventually, you find a solution. For example, you feel anxious and discover that running calms you down. Or you feel stressed from work and learn that playing mobile games relaxes you. So initially, you were exploring different behaviors and suddenly you got a reward. After this unexpected reward, your brain remembers the event that led to it. You try, fail, learn, and try a different response. With practice, the useless actions are forgotten and the useful ones are reinforced. When you face a problem repeatedly, your brain automates the solution. Thus, your habits are a set of automatic solutions for the problems you often encounter in your life. As habits are formed, the level of brain activity decreases. When the same problem occurs, you already know what to do. Habits help the conscious mind. It can only focus on one problem at a time. The brain always reserves conscious attention for the most essential task. So the non-conscious mind must handle the work in the background. Habits free up your mental energy so you can pay attention to important tasks. You might think habits make your life boring because you get stuck in a routine. It is not exciting or spontaneous anymore. But this isn't true. Habits do not limit your freedom. They provide you with freedom. If you need to decide on every simple task, you won't have time for important ones. Imagine thinking every morning about how to brush your teeth or which way to go to work. Habits give us mental space to think creatively and freely. Now, let us go deeper into the process of forming habits. There are 4 basic steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. They are the backbone of every habit. Your brain goes through these steps in the same order every time. The first is the cue. It is a trigger for your brain to start a behavior. A cue is a piece of information that signals a reward. Our ancestors looked for cues that led to primary rewards such as food, water, and sex. Today, we search for cues that might give us secondary rewards such as money, power, fame, praise, approval, love, or self-fulfillment. Your brain is always scanning your inner and outer environment for cues. The second step of habit forming is the craving. It is the motivational force of every habit. Without the craving, you will not take action. You do not crave the habit itself, but the change it brings. You do not crave smoking, but you crave the feeling of relief. You do not crave brushing your teeth, but you crave the feeling of freshness in your mouth. Your personal thoughts and emotions transform a cue into a craving. The third step is the response. It refers to the actual habit you do. It can be a thought or an action. The response depends on how motivated you are and how easy it is to do. If the action requires more physical or mental effort, it
then
refers
you
to the
want to
actual
give,
habit
you
you will
do.
not do it. It can be a thought or an action. The response depends on how motivated you are and how easy it is to do. If the action requires more physical or mental effort than you want to give, you will not do it. The fourth step of habit forming is the reward. It is the goal of every habit. Rewards have two purposes. They satisfy your craving and teach you which actions to repeat. For example, you eat food to survive, but it also satisfies your craving. If you like the food, you will eat it again. But if it tastes awful, you will avoid it. The reward completes the habit formation cycle. We must transform these 4 steps into a simple framework to build good habits and quit bad ones. The author calls this framework the 4 laws of behavioral change. Each law corresponds to a basic step. Here is the framework to build a good habit. The first law is to make the cue obvious. The second law is to make the craving attractive. The third law is to make the response easy. The fourth law is to make the reward satisfying. The opposite applies to quitting a bad habit. Make the cue invisible, make the craving unattractive, make the response difficult, and make the reward unsatisfying. The 4 laws of behavior change work on any human behavior, whether in the field of sports, medicine, management, politics. We will discuss each law more deeply in the next chapters. Cues. Make it obvious. In 2001, a study in Europe aimed to improve the exercise habits of 248 participants within 2 weeks. The participants were divided into 3 groups. The first group was simply told to track how often they exercised. The second group was told to track and read articles about the benefits of exercise. The third group was told to track, read, and create a specific plan on when and where they would exercise. Members of the third group were asked to fill in this sentence. Next week, I will exercise for 20 minutes on day, at time, in place. The results showed that 35% of the first group exercised at least once a week. 38% of the second group exercised at least once a week. Meanwhile, in the third group, 91% exercised at least once a week. The sentence that the third group filled out is called implementation intention. It is a specific plan you create about when and where to do the action. Many cues come from our environment. It can be an alarm, ringtone, smell of food, ambulance sirens, etc. But the most common cues to trigger a habit are time and location. The implementation intention sentence can also be written as, I will do behavior at this time in this location. Hundreds of studies have proven that people are more likely to build a new habit if they make a specific plan for when and where they will do it. Often we tell ourselves, I will be more productive or I will eat healthier and leave it to chance. We hope that we will remember or feel motivated to do it. But implementation intention makes the cue obvious and actionable. For example, you can write, I will meditate for 2 minutes at 7 a.m. in the living room. Or, I will study Mandarin for 20 minutes at 6 p.m. in the kitchen. Another way to build a new habit effectively is habit stacking. It is based on the idea that each behavior is a cue that triggers the next behavior. In habit stacking, you identify a habit you already do daily and attach a new behavior to it. The formula is, after doing current habit, I will do new habit. Here are some examples. After taking off my work shoes, I will change into exercise clothes. Or, after sitting down for dinner, I will say one thing I'm grateful for today. You can also make a chain of habit stacking. Your morning habit can look like this. After I make coffee, I will meditate for 60 seconds. After meditating, I will write my to-do list for the day. After writing my to-do list, I will start with the first task. The key is linking the new habit you want to have to something you already do daily. Habit stacking is a set of simple rules that guide you on which action to take. Once you get used to it, you can create formulas for other situations. For fitness, when I see stairs, I use them instead of the elevator. For social skills, when I go to an event, I will make friends with someone I don't know. For finances, when I want to buy items worth $100 and above, I will wait 24 hours before buying. For health, when I put food on my plate, I will always get vegetables first. For minimalism, when I buy something new, I will give something away. For a better mood, when I receive a call, I will take a deep breath and smile before answering. For forgetfulness, when I leave a public place, I will check the table and chairs to ensure I don't forget anything. Craving. Make it attractive. In the 1940s, Nico Tinbergen, a Dutch scientist, conducted experiments that transformed our understanding of motivation. Tinbergen studied the behavior of birds along the seashore, discovered something incredible, and won a Nobel Prize for his work. Adult herring gulls are grey and white birds with a red dot on their yellow beak. Tinbergen noticed that baby chicks peck this red dot when they are hungry. So Tinbergen created a fake cardboard beak that looks the same as the beak of the mother herring gull. The fake beak only has a head but no body. Tinbergen thought that the chicks would reject it. When the parents leave the nest, he offered the fake beaks to the chicks. He was surprised that they pecked at the red dot as if the cardboard was their own mother. The baby herring gulls were genetically programmed to peck that red dot. Soon, Tinbergen discovered that the bigger the dot, the faster the chicks pecked. He also made a fake beak with 3 large red dots on it. When he gave it to the chicks, they went crazy and pecked all 3 dots. Tinbergen discovered that other animals have the same behavior. A greylag goose nests in the ground. Sometimes, when the mother goose moves around the nest, one egg will roll down and settle on the grass. When this happens, the mother will immediately find the egg and use its beak to roll the egg back to the nest. So Tinbergen experimented with round objects like light bulbs and billiard balls to see what the mother greylag goose would do. He discovered that she would pick the round object up. The bigger the object, the greater her response would be. Once the mother goose tried hard to roll a volleyball back to the nest and sit on top of it. We can see here how each animal is genetically programmed for certain rules of behavior. When they see an exaggerated cue, they react strongly. Scientists call it supernormal stimuli. Even us humans fall for these exaggerated cues. Junk food is an example of supernormal stimuli. Our ancestors survived for thousands of years hunting and gathering food. They didn't know when they would get to eat next. Thus, the human brain evolved to crave high-calorie food with salt, sugar, and fat. Today we have abundant food, but our brains remain the same. That is why food companies make their products more attractive by adding more salt, sugar, and fat. They spend millions to discover the most satisfying potato chip crunch or the amount of fizz in a soda. Food scientists figure out the bliss point of every product to make people come back for more. Supernormal stimuli is an example of the second law of behavior change, which is make it attractive. Our modern society is full of attractive, exaggerated versions of reality. Advertisements are created with professional makeup, ideal lighting, and Photoshop editing. Social media gives us more likes and compliments in a few minutes than we could ever get in real life. These supernormal stimuli drive us crazy and make us respond excessively to shopping, social media, porn, junk food, and many others. We share the same brain as our ancestors, but they never had the kind of temptations we are facing now. We can use this concept to our advantage by making a habit more attractive to do. Habits are dopamine-driven. Behaviors that usually become habits are associated with high levels of dopamine. Examples are eating junk food, browsing social media, playing video games, or using illegal drugs. For many years, scientists thought that dopamine was only about pleasure. But now we know that dopamine plays a big role in our learning, memory, motivation, and aversion to punishment. Scientists also found that dopamine is released not only when a person experiences pleasure, but also when it is anticipated. Cocaine addicts have a dopamine spike when they see the powder. Gambling addicts also get a surge of dopamine before placing a bet. When you anticipate a reward, your dopamine level will rise, and so will your motivation to act. Ronan Byrne, an engineering student, applied this concept. He used a strategy called temptation bundling to make exercising more attractive to do. Ronan used his engineering skills and connected his stationary bike to the laptop and television. He created a program that would play Netflix only if he rode the stationary bike at a certain speed. If Ronan moves slowly, the show he is watching will pause. So the temptation here is watching Netflix, and Ronan bundled it with the new habit of exercising. You are more likely to commit to a new habit when you do it with your favorite thing. Here is the habit stacking plus temptation bundling formula. 1. After doing current habit, I will do habit I need. 2. After doing habit I need, I will do habit I want. Below is an example. After drinking coffee, current habit, I will say thank you for one thing that happened yesterday, habit I need. After saying thank you, habit I need, I will check Facebook, habit I want. Here is another one. After eating lunch, current habit, I will make 3 sales calls, habit I need. After calling, habit I need, I will watch some cricket, habit I want. Hopefully, you will look forward to do the habit you need because it means you will do the habit you want. Temptation bundling is a way to make a habit more attractive and irresistible. You will be as motivated as a little chick pecking on a large red dot. Response: make it easy. Jerry Uelsman is a professor at the University of Florida. He divided the students into 2 groups on the first day of film photography class. The students on the left side of the room would form the quantity group, and those on the right would be the quality group. The quantity group would be graded based on how many photographs they produced. Students with 100 photos would be given an A. Those with 90 photos would receive a B, and so on. Meanwhile, the quality group would be graded based on excellence. They would submit only 1 photograph by the end of the semester, but it had to be perfect. The professor was surprised to see that all the best photos came from the quantity group. These students took many photos throughout the semester. They experimented with lighting, composition, and different methods in the darkroom. They practiced and learned from their mistakes. Meanwhile, the quality group studied and speculated on how to achieve perfection. They never got to test their theories and instead produced 1 average photo. We can see in this example how we get stuck planning the best way to achieve something. We procrastinate and never get to take action. If you want to build a habit, you need to aim for repetition and not perfection. Repetition makes a habit automatic. It strengthens the connection between neurons in your brains. The more you repeat an activity, the stronger the neural network becomes. A neuropsychologist, Donald Hebb, said, "Neurons that fire together wire together." Many people ask, how long does it take to build a new habit? But this is a wrong question. Habits rely on frequency and not time duration. For example, you cannot exercise twice a month and expect results. Your current habits developed over hundreds or thousands of repetitions. A new habit would require the same amount of frequency. For that to happen, you must make the routine easy. That is the 3rd law of behavioral change. Many books and trainers say that motivation is the key to change. If you really want to achieve something, you need to act. But the truth is, humans are wired to do what is convenient. Our brains conserve as much energy as possible. That is why when we have 2 options, we always choose the one that requires lesser effort. You must make a habit easy so you will do it consistently. For example, you decided to do 100 push-ups daily. On the first day, you're excited and motivated. You will reach 100. However, after a few days, you will feel lazy and exhausted. Instead of 100, you must start with 1 push-up a day. Remember, the less effort it requires, the more likely you will build the habit. Aim for less friction and more convenience. One effective strategy you can apply is priming. It refers to preparing your environment to do the habit easily. Here are some examples. If you want to cook breakfast daily, put the pan on the stove the night before. Bring out the ingredients and utensils you need to use, so when you wake up, you can start cooking at once. If you want to practice drawing, always place your notebook, pencil, and art materials on your desk. If you want to eat healthy food, chop fruits and vegetables on weekends and store them in containers, so you can have easy access to them daily. You can also prime your environment to make doing a bad habit difficult. If you're watching too much TV, unplug it after use and remove the remote control batteries. If you're always distracted by your phone, put it on silent mode and keep it out of your sight. This way, you will have less urge to use it while working. These changes might be small, but they can have a big impact. You can redesign your life so that the right actions are easy and the wrong ones are difficult to do. Imagine the difference it will make in your home, school, office, or community. Rewards. Make it satisfying. Trent Dyersmith is a young stockbroker from a small town in Canada. No one expected much from him as he was a rookie from a small town. But a simple daily habit helped Trent achieve success. Each morning, he started his day with 2 jars on his desk. One jar was filled with 120 paper clips, while the other jar was empty. As soon as Trent sits at his desk, he makes a sales call. After one call, he gets 1 paperclip from the full jar and puts it in the empty jar. He moves 1 paperclip for every sales call he makes. Trent's goal is to transfer all the paperclips to the other jar by the end of the day. With this simple strategy, Trent earned $5 million for the firm in 18 months. He earned $75,000 per year. Soon he moved to a bigger company and had a 6-figure salary. The paperclip strategy has other variations. A woman moves a hairpin from one box to another as she finishes reading 1 page of a book. A man transfers 1 marble from one can to another after doing 1 push-up. The 4th law of behavioral change is to make it satisfying. Paperclips, hairpins, or marbles are satisfying proof of your progress. They reinforce the behavior and give you immediate satisfaction. But the best way to measure your progress is a habit tracker. You can simply get a calendar and put a cross on each day you follow the routine. Habit tracking has 3 benefits. It applies 3 laws of behavioral change. First, habit tracking is obvious. The paper clips on a jar or crosses on your calendar give you a visual cue to keep going. It lets you know how much effort you have given. Studies have shown that people who track their progress on quitting smoking, losing weight, or lowering blood pressure are more likely to improve than those who don't. People who record the food that they eat daily lose twice more weight than those who do not. Second, habit tracking is attractive. When you see proof of your improvement, you are motivated to continue the behavior. Each small achievement feeds your craving. On days when you're feeling down, your habit tracker will remind you how far you have come. Third, habit tracking is satisfying. The cross on your calendar or check on your to-do list is a reward in itself. It feels good to see the record of your progress. It can be the length of your book manuscript, the size of your investment portfolio, the weight of your piggy bank, etc. Habit tracking makes you focused on the process and not the result. It helps you maintain your good performance and become better every day. Maybe you've tried recording your daily meals or exercise in a journal, but you quit tracking after 1 week. How can you make habit tracking easier? You can use this formula. This is habit stacking plus habit tracking rolled into one. After doing current habit, I will track my habit. You must track your habit immediately after doing it. Here are some examples. After putting my plate in the sink, I will record what I ate in my notebook. After putting down the phone from a sales call, I will transfer 1 paperclip to the other jar. After finishing 1 routine at the gym, I will write it down in my workout journal. With practice, you will eventually get used to habit tracking. Now, what will you do if you miss your habit? Emergencies and unexpected events are part of your life. You might get sick, travel for work, or need more time for your family. If this happens, remember this simple rule. Do not miss your habit twice. If you miss 1 day, make sure to do it the next day. Missing once is a mistake. Missing twice may ruin your habit. For example, you ate pizza at your best friend's birthday. Make sure to eat a healthy meal when you get home. This is what separates winners from losers. We all have a bad day or a bad performance, but when successful people fail, they get up and try to do better. That is why they win. Conclusion. First, you learned about the valley of disappointment and plateau of latent potential. When you start a new habit, you will not see any changes within days, weeks, or months. You will feel frustrated and want to quit. But you must keep going through a straight line until you reach the critical point of success. Second, you learned the 4 basic steps of habit forming. They are cue, craving, response, and reward. The cue triggers the craving, that motivates the response, that determines the reward. If the reward is good, the cycle will repeat once again. Third, you learned the 4 laws of behavioral change. The cue must be obvious, the craving must be attractive, the response must be easy, and the reward must be satisfying. To make it obvious, set a specific time and place to do the habit. You can also make your current habit the cue for a new habit. This strategy is called habit stacking. After doing current habit, I will do new habit. To make it attractive, do the new habit you need with the current habit you want. You can use the habit stacking plus temptation bundling formula. After doing current habit, I will do habit I need. After doing habit I need, I will do habit I want. To make it easy, always prepare your environment ahead of time, so doing the habit becomes convenient. This strategy is called priming. You can prime your home or workplace to help you repeat the new habit consistently. To make it satisfying, you can track your progress using a calendar, journal, to-do lists, paper clips, marbles, etc. Combine habit stacking with habit tracking to gain immediate satisfaction. This formula is, after doing current habit, I will track my habit. Building a new habit is a continuous process. It has no finish line or definite solution. If you want to improve, you can always go back to the 4 laws of behavioral change. The secret is to keep going. Always find ways to get 1% better. Remember the incredible power of atomic habits. So make one tiny change today, and then the next, and the next, and the next.